Live to tape from Tampa, Florida, with your host, Andy Signore. He may have lost the fight, but he'll win the war. This is Nerd Wars.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special Star Wars Nerd Wars. That's hard to say because they're two wars. But we are so excited to break down Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Ooh, is this title worthy of the finale of the Star Wars trilogy of trilogies? We're going to break it down. I got some awesome fighters here. Let's see who's on the couch. We got Damien and Nadine. Hello.
What's up? Hey.
And over here we got Lee. I'm learning how to switch. Lee and Shannon. Woo!
Hey, how's it going?
Guys, I'm your switcher today, so it's going to be a little messy because we had to get this out quick on a Saturday morning because we wanted to break this fight down ASAP. But the trailer came out. I think it's safe to say we all liked the trailer. Can we just admit that let's get that out of at the gate?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard not to like Star Wars. I mean, you can try, but it's hard not to.
Plus the musical score. You always have to get excited about the musical score.
They make it epic.
Yeah, it was that also the Princess Leia theme coming in a bit. Oh,
yeah.
Just, I think
the
even the
feels.
harshest critics. Yeah. I mean, because I know Lee, you're a little bit of a critic of this.
I am a big critic of Star Wars.
You still. I mean, come on, that gave you goosebumps, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, seeing Carrie Fisher on screen again, knowing that it's the last time we're going to see her. I mean, it hits you right in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and J.J. Abrams is good at that. He knows how to punch that in there. So.
Right, and this idea they're always here and they never leave you. That whole it's people are getting mad because it's Palpatine, but at the same time it's a lot of things.
It's everyone, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start. I'm on your side. Let's go there first. You think that this main fight is going to be about is this title worthy? Is this title worthy of the Star Wars finale? But also, is this going to what are our thoughts? We're speculating a lot, obviously, on this movie. We don't know, but we saw a lot of little teases and shots in this trailer. But we're going to break down the title. Are we excited? And also, is it relying too much on nostalgia? We're going to break that down a little bit. And can this trilogy really please the fans? Can we sum up Star Wars in a way that's going to work? We're going to speculate on that, and then we're going to really come back and hit that title again after we've said our pieces. Is the title worthy? So I want to go to Lee and Shannon first because I know you guys are not as excited about the title, correct?
No, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, not at all.
And then just so we're clear on the couch, show your cards. You guys do like the title.
Yes.
Team Sunnyside, yes, we like the title.
Okay, so perfect. We got a fight. Woo, we got a war. Sorry, we got a war.
Yeah.
So let's start on the, I'm on the couch. Let's start on the couch. You guys love it. Actually, I'm changing it.
Yes.
Tell me why you guys love it.
Well, go ahead. Start. Eddie. Go ahead. Take
Well, to me, it's a good way to, we're closing the Skywalker saga. Like, we need, because like how you're saying, it brings back nostalgia. We need to put like a nice little cap on this because you can't really not make it about the Skywalker saga when the first two are about Skywalker. We're still talking about the Skywalker lineage, who's the chosen one, what's really going to happen to the Jedis. Like, you need to end it. And I feel like this is going to be like the great like little cherry on the top. Okay, we can move on. Let's go to another side of the galaxy maybe.
I also like the implications. I mean, honestly, there's something about the title that says, hey, so everyone knows that this is the closing of the Skywalker saga, but you're saying Rise of the Skywalker, so it draws that question out, and I like going into Star Wars having a question. I like going in and saying, well, what did A New Hope really mean? What does Return of the Jedi really mean? You know what I mean? So, Rise of the Skywalker has me going in with questions, and I like having some sort of mystery when I go in to watch a Star Wars film.
All right. I mean, great thoughts. Let's hear the opposite side. Why are you guys worried about this title?
You can go ahead and start.
Well, I think it puts too much emphasis on Skywalker itself. I mean, if you look at the series in general, it always emphasized on a prophecy, right? There was a prophecy that there would be some sort of chosen one that would be able to join the forces together. They thought it was Anakin, and they found out, I think, in the prequel third that it wasn't him. We thought it was Luke then, especially how it concluded, and then we find out it's not Luke.
There's another.
So we are told, especially in The Last Jedi, that it's not going to be an emphasis anymore on the Skywalkers. People have had the Force before them, and having Rey almost not be related at all puts emphasis that anyone could carry the mantle, means anyone could fulfill that prophecy. You even have it at the end of the scene of this little kid with a broom. We don't even know who he is, and he controls the Force. So when you have that and you try to pivot away from that, especially since you've have hours upon hours and years and decades of footage on the Skywalkers, and you're trying to build a brand outside Skywalkers, to close it off going Rise of the Skywalkers almost seems like a joke tease. It's going to go back that it jokes on us. It's been Skywalker all the time.
Yeah.
And it puts less faith in me that they're going to be able to carry the series after the Skywalker lineage is done. I don't even know what they're going to do if they always rely on the nostalgia. And that's why I don't like the title.
So here's my problem with it. It fits the same fucking formula as all these fucking movies have. You had Return of the Jedi, it was the capping of the last one. You had Revenge of the Sith. So then they're all like, well, what other R verb can we use? What else is there? Rise. Right. Well, we can't do Rise of the Force Bread. Well, let's do Rise of the Skywalker. Because, why not? Because it's J.J. Abrams and nostalgia's all he has. That and lens flare out the ass. So it just feels tired and it feels repetitive, and I'm done with that shit. Like, give me something new. Last Jedi gave me something new. I wasn't expecting any of that, and I was so happy to get it, and then to just kind of shit on it just to pacify all the fucking nerds that were pissed off about it, and we get Rise of Skywalker. Oh no, we're not done with him yet, don't worry, he'll be back.
But come on, it's not just about him specifically, you know that,
we don't
right?
know. Well, are they gonna say now Rey's a Skywalker, or
No.
because we know it's not Kylo. Kylo's a Solo. I'm sorry, it goes father's name. He's a Solo, he's not a Skywalker.
You guys assumed, first of all, I mean, it's okay because we're allowed to assume things here, but you guys assume that it's going to be Rey.
I hope it's Finn.
I hope
it's Finn.
It could be Finn. It could be anything. But there's also nothing. We don't know Rey's last name. She could assume the last name Skywalker. She can start an entire thing. Hell, Broom Kid could be Skywalker for all we know.
So
the point is that it's. We're saying that.
Broom Kid. Does he
Yeah.
have
Broom
an
Kid,
action,
yeah.
Does he have an action figure yet?
I like to call him. I like to think of him as Mickey because he kind of was reminiscent of like the Wizard's Apprentice. With the broom.
yeah.
I hope he gets called,
Fantasia.
Fantasia,
Broom
yeah.
Walker or something.
The Broom Walker.
He'd be fine.
But it shouldn't be called Skywalker. It
Yeah,
shouldn't
it's just-
rely on the last name. It almost makes the family, because I get what you're saying. We're not saying that it's just Kylo would never be Kylo Ren,
God, no.
or Anakin or Luke or Leia. Which,
Or could it? Because it depends on. I mean, again, repetitiveness. Hey, Kylo redeems himself and kills.
But Obi-Wan,
fucking
there is
Palpatine,
a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
But Yoda speculated earlier that there could be that there is another, and this story. I mean, the
Yeah,
first
that
story,
was Leia.
The first story being predominantly around the Solo, then the second one being predominantly around Luke. Then we have the third one. And this was supposed to be focused on Leia. Now
Yes.
we have a
she's gone,
chance.
though.
Well, she is, but she isn't. And thanks to modern technology, she isn't gone. She's with us. She's going to complete her story. So we don't know what else.
They're
we
killing
have in
her off
store.
in the first 10 minutes. I guarantee.
I have to. 'Cause
Guarantee
you're not.
I mean, she might come in around the middle, but okay, you gotta remember too, this is a society that they have the technology for cloning, and they have the technology to bring back people. So I
think that would
think
make-
even if it's not directly one of the Skywalkers, I think the name, even the title, maybe it's not a specific person, maybe it's just closing what they like, the big influence that the Skywalkers had in the war, in
Maybe
the political
You're all
sense.
wrong. By the way.
Maybe they finally pay out and give us the Skywalker incest baby that they've been
No!
hitting at since Empire Strikes
No!
Back.
Oh my
You
god.
can't,
I'm just
you can't
saying.
say it's a bookend when you have Rise, because when you rise up, it's insinuating that things are going to continue forward.
Rise also means rebel.
Yeah.
To rise, it also means to rebel. So
So
it doesn't
rebel
necessarily
against Skywalker? Is that
no,
what?
rise of the Skywalker.
So
could be-
rebellion of the
it
Skywalker
could be the
line.
Skywalker
I gotta
rebellion.
interject. You guys are missing the most obvious thing, which is whether it's right or wrong. This is the end of the Jedi. This is the end of the Sith. This is the birth of the Skywalker. It's a new term.
No.
So you think it's the
a
gray
new
Jedi? It's
term.
gray Jedi.
Yes,
it's the middle
new
road.
term, or it's not light or dark anymore. It's this new path where it's going to start a whole new generation of the rise of this new thing.
I
don't
hope
think it's
you're right.
specifically
I hope
about
so.
Luke, Rey, or any of them. I think it's about the legend of what these Skywalkers did the course of these movies. Anakin, all of them, even Kylo. All of it's going to sum up into that
Kill the
term
younglings.
of the Skywalker. Do you guys like
murder
that
children.
ideas? I mean, others have been going on that
I love-
theme, but I think that's where it's headed.
I love that idea because if someone would go up to Rey and little Broom Kid finds Rey and he's like, "Are you a Jedi?" and she goes, "No, we're Skywalkers." Boom! I could take that.
Yeah,
I'll run with that all day.
And what if that
No.
kid's like, I want to be a Jedi, and he's
I
like,
could have
fuck
that.
you.
I see what
We're
you're
not
saying.
going to be divided here. Hold on.
You don't want that idea? Wait, I'm curious. Why?
Because I think, like you said, it's about the saga of the Skywalkers and their influence. I don't want the Skywalker name to become just a label of like, okay, now we're all Skywalkers and we have this cult of Skywalkers.
That's literally all these nerds
It's
have
just
wanted,
their
though.
But
It'd be like
that's
to be a
what I
Skywalker.
want. I want the family, like, all the influence and what they gone through to have a good ending, to see what they did, because they had a huge influence between the Sith and the Jedi. Like,
Yeah.
you can't deny that. So having an end like to that huge conflict, I think it's a good way to move on.
It's
Move
good.
on to the next stage of like what's gonna happen with the Force, what's gonna happen, like, because at the end, like this whole section of the galaxy is still in turmoil. Like that war hasn't ended.
Right, but you said it's about who's going to use the Force. Don't you think another way to use the Force would become the Skywalker?
No.
You don't. Why?
No.
You just don't like giving up the name.
I don't want the name to become a label. It's a name.
She wants the redemption of the Skywalkers, basically. So
Yeah.
Rise of the Skywalker is like, hey, look,
My babies need a redemption.
finally we end on a good note. The Skywalkers were ultimately
Yeah,
good.
they're
That does
good.
make sense too. That if we're bringing back Palpatine and Force Ghosts and stuff like that, why not have Anakin and Luke and everyone say, look, no, we're more good than bad.
If I see Hayden Christensen in that fucking movie, I'm gonna flip out. I do not want that. I do not want Anakin back. I'm mad that they shoved him into fucking.
Can you imagine like
Return of the Jedi?
Can you
That
imagine like
pissed
the
me off.
Avengers Endgame finale where they're just gonna have every Force ghost, all of the Mace Windu's gonna show up. They're gonna do some big epic. This movie could be so bad if it was in the wrong hands because it could
Yes.
just be so crazy. But they're not gonna go that. Do you think we're gonna bring all the Force ghosts back?
Army?
No, I don't
J.J.
think so.
Abrams is going to play it too safe. He plays it safe. We saw that with the Force Awakens. Everything he did was just like, oh yeah, they did that in A New Hope. They'll like that. Oh yeah, they did that in A New Hope. Oh, you need a big Death Star? We'll go Death Planet. Yeah, they like that.
He walked
That's
a
what they
very
want.
fine line of introducing new characters, which we do love the new characters, and bringing
Are
in
they
the old
new?
characters and doing something nostalgic. Yes, they
felt
are.
repetitive.
No,
you had
no,
the
they're
Han
not.
Solo.
No, they're not.
Finn is one of my favorite characters.
I like Finn. That's
Finn
great.
is
Yeah,
amazing. I named
but
my
Finn
car
went
Finn.
from bad to good, much like Han Solo did. He had the jacket. He had the Wookiee for a while. I'm
would've
just saying
said Poe
it
was
hit
more
the
Han
same
Solo.
fucking notes.
I
Well,
was-
I'm
you know,
curious because Last Jedi is very polarizing, and I haven't had a chance to really publicly talk about Last Jedi. Last Jedi was fine for me. It just
Fucking loved it.
But
really
what
good.
was weird is it's like I didn't like when Kylo did that turn, and then they didn't really embrace a turn because I feel like he didn't really. If he'd gone dark, he would have tried to kill Rey like harder, and just it would have gone heavier. And he either needed to do that or he needed to go. Fine, I'm going to go with Rey. Whether that was a trick to go dark, this like weird like come join me, I'm in love with you. It just felt like a half-ass turn that
Well,
didn't
maybe-
fully embrace this kind of badass turn in the movie that I feel like it should have turned.
Maybe it goes in what you were saying earlier with this. Not that I totally buy into the idea, but Rise of the Skywalker, because there was a lot of messaging in the film that the Force is neither good nor evil. That's
Yeah.
seen with the cave. So
Whoever uses it.
whoever uses it. So having him not turn shows that there is no turning. There is no that. And then if it is correct that they become Skywalkers, there is no Jedi good, no Sith evil Skywalker. So having him turn would almost go
Right,
against
but wouldn't it have
that
been cool
idea.
if Rey was just like, all right, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going with you. That would have, I don't know. I would have been,
I would've
kind
loved
that
it.
kind of would have been
Yeah,
badass. That would have
Rey's-
given her like what if they were bad and then something else happens? Broom
So-
Kid saves the day. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
I was like,
My point
she
is,
could have joined them and then just turned the whole thing around and then just ended the war. Like, okay, join him, turn him good or whatever, because he's still in the gray area, and then use the fucking resources. They have a ton of ships and a huge army. Use that to have your advantage. If you're in control, like they basically be the head.
So like Angel season 5, where they take over Wolfram and Hart and they get all the
wow,
resources.
you're going.
Yes.
That's hardcore.
I
nerdy.
love that.
Just like, yeah, I mean that would have been
Yeah,
good, but
yeah.
they didn't do that. So
You just got a 5-star nerd award for that.
I don't just shit on nerds. I am a nerd.
You like Lee and Shannon? Did you like Last? Just so we're
did.
clear
I
on
love
who
Last
likes
Jedi.
what.
I really loved it. I thought it was a great film. I know.
And what
it
about
was-
Force Awakens?
I like that too because I'm a little biased because I saw 4, 5, and 6 first, and then leading up to Force Awakens, I binged 1, 2, and 3, and that was complete garbage. So anything would have been better than seeing 1, 2, and 3. But I liked getting back to roots because they had to course correct 1, 2, and 3.
But did they get back to roots? I mean, it was like introducing these new people, which I'm all about. I'm glad they're introducing new people, but it did feel like they were all reliant on the nostalgia of we have to keep
Yeah, I know,
following the
and-
people, and we didn't really get because even Finn and what's her name, Kelly Me Tran, what's her character's name?
Rose.
Rose, thank you.
I
I
didn't
liked
feel
the idea of Rose, but their whole subplot just felt so unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then even Poe Dameron's plot in Last Jedi was just completely
I mean,
unnecessary.
Poe needs
He's
to
kind
learn
of-
that lesson, though.
But no, but he kind of needs to be like he's
got to
for
see-
mutiny, like go to jail. Like he killed a lot of
No.
fucking people.
Yeah, well, they all
He
kill a lot of
did.
people.
No,
I mean,
he really killed a lot of
war.
we
people.
only
War.
see the rebel side in
Yeah.
all the movies. We've only really seen the rebels' perspective. So when I got to see the casinos in the.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually got to see it from their perspective without having exposition, without being told what was going on.
What about you, positive people?
like being on Coruscant,
where your stance on Last Jedi and?
I like Last Jedi in general, but I did not like certain aspects of it. I could definitely see that there was a course that was set in The Force Awakens that was then subverted in Last Jedi, which looks like it's getting changed again in Rise of the Skywalker. So what I don't like is that I feel like there is a slight battle of the storyline here, and I would have preferred that it. And this is why I don't envy JJ. Not only did he have to go in and set a course with Force Awakens, it then got changed quite a bit with Last Jedi, in which I'm like, okay, cool, we're gonna accept that. And then it's like, okay, no, we're going back to the original course. He has to fix the course twice. He has to set the path twice. He has a hard job ahead of him.
He does. No, I don't disagree with you. J.J. Abrams had a lot on his plate and big shoes to fill, you know? But, I mean, so I think everyone has to like Force Awakens because it's so nostalgic. Because it hits those notes. You didn't like it? So you're one of the few that didn't like it.
I didn't like it from the beginning, and that's something that a lot of people have trouble with me. I didn't like it because I felt like it was just nostalgia. It was all nostalgia. And I get it. You know, it's been a while. You're bringing the series back. You need to get stuff that, you know, all these people just grew up with Star Wars, and you need something to catch their attention. They're not going to want something completely new. But I felt like it was just regurgitated material.
It was. No, it absolutely was.
I love The Last Jedi.
Wasn't Rogue One and Solo the same thing, though? I mean, that's sort of what Disney and Star Wars.
Rogue One was so good.
Nostalgia, though. The whole point was just tricking up a scene that was sort of not... Okay, that's how they got the CD-ROM.
It's set in the past. That's why it's full of nostalgia. It's set before A New Hope, so you get all that grungy and, you know, they're just patchworking tech together. And then they give you a war, and then they give you an ending that's not really, like, happy.
Yeah. I feel like
that was so good.
I didn't even think they'd go that far. I'm like,
no, it's like, they'll somehow live.
This isn't a fight about Rogue One. I don't want to get distracted because I've had that fight a long time. But my point is, I still think it's nostalgia because it's all about these characters setting up the trilogy of all trilogies, right? There's a lot of like little. I mean, Solo's way worse, but Rogue One was like a more artistic. I can give Rogue One its merits. Solo, I don't give any merits, but Rogue One, at least I feel like okay, they're trying to do something, but. Anyway, nostalgia is clearly in Disney's Rolodex right now. How do I fix this?
Would anyone have accepted the new trilogy with absolutely... I mean, granted, we know that Han Solo, we knew that Leia was alive, we knew that Luke was around there somewhere. Would we have accepted a new trilogy without having those characters in there? Really?
No, but they didn't have to rely on the same story beats that they did so heavily.
No,
yeah, but they also fucking killed him definitively. Yeah. They killed Han hard.
They made sure that ending was like ending. There's been an ending for everybody.
That was very. You needed that. You needed a Force Awakens because you needed that base because you had to erase all the damage from 1, 2, and 3. Start from the beginning and then veer off because Last Jedi was amazing, and then they were able to go that direction because.
So they needed to get on a road to be able to go forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get
Use the course.
Yeah. And then Rian Johnson was like, "Fuck a course, I'm off road this bitch."
Yeah. And then Disney's like, "We're gonna put you back on the course, and it's gonna be Rise of the Skywalkers, and it's just forget going off road."
Kathleen Kennedy was like, "That's the last time I depend on a random fucking director."
You guys have brought up where I want to go to the next segment of just sort of can this finale and just even the trilogy, this new trilogy in itself, like, can it really please Star Wars fans?
Probably not.
No.
Is it possible to please them all?
We're a bunch of assholes.
Considering that I'm Team Sunnyside, I'm going to say yes. All right. And JJ, I trust. Not only was he able to, he's the only guy who's gone both ways, Star Trek and Star Wars, and done a really good job.
And a bad job.
And a bad job. Yeah. It's like,
you can't win them all.
Yeah, right? But, you know, from looking at this and going and saying, okay, we have this new trilogy. We know what's going to happen next. We're going to go into other eras and other parts of Star Wars. JJ's got to stick this landing. It's hard for him, but I believe he can. I think he can give us the nostalgia that's going to turn most of the fans back. But I think he's stuck with some of the things that Rian Johnson set up, so that way we're like, okay, well, he's still going to subvert. He's going to give us something new. Just to end a saga with Rise of the Skywalker is already something that's like, guys, I'm obviously ending this, but I'm going to give you something that's going to surprise you. He's really good with those twists.
So I look at it like a song, right? You start off with like, you know, your beats, your chorus and all that, but then you had like a fucking, you know, guitar solo out of nowhere that was really awesome, like The Last Jedi, but then you got to finish it off and tie it off with those last choruses and those last, you know, repetitive shit. And that's what you're getting here. You got, you know, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and now Rise of Skywalker.
I like that song analogy because look at you can't constantly keep repeating things. You're never gonna please all of the fans. You're looking at decades and generations of people from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. That is,
well, we're almost there. We're not
almost there.
yet.
We're pretty
Yeah.
much there. We're
Yeah.
pretty much there. You have decades and all these different types of people, how they grew up, how they were raised. So there's just too many people to please, so you can't please anyone, and you need to focus on the story. And a lot of artists with music bands will try to repeat the same formula. They'll die out. Queen didn't. Queen kept on changing their albums and focused on the music, while Star Wars, in order to succeed, need to focus on the story. If they focus on trying to please fans, it's gonna die out. You need to focus on a compelling, good story. People are gonna watch it no matter what. You could call it Star Wars: Rise of the Porgs, and then people would.
I would watch that.
People would have watched.
I do think there's an unfair advantage to Han Solo, Luke, and all them, just because they have had those decades. So of course fans are going to always say, well, there's no one like Luke, but Luke's kind of a shitty character in the first
he's
movie.
the worst fucking Jedi.
And
He's the worst
my point is,
trained
like,
one.
Finn and Poe, we just haven't had the years, and they weren't the first ones out the gate. So it's hard. I can see criticisms of Finn and Poe, like Poe especially. Like, I don't know, he's just like Han Solo light in a way, but then he's cooler to today's standards. But I like what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? I like the actor. Who plays Poe?
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac, thank you. I love Oscar Isaac. I'm in, but it's like, I don't know. And even Rey, I like her. I like where they're going with
Daisy
it.
Ridley's
What I really
great.
liked about this trailer was this idea. I was saying, we were talking pre-show, but I love this idea of using the Force in today's technology in a way that's more creative with the action scenes, because I feel like they had the opportunity at the end of Rogue One, and they implied it when Vader's like throwing the bodies, and I wanted 10 more minutes of that. I was
I
like,
hated that
you
part.
have you. But my point is, if you're gonna go there,
there.
okay, then go there.
Yeah,
Like,
but-
don't just half-ass. Boom, boom, I'm out.
But
Like,
he
the
goes
idea of
from-
seeing Vader finally at this prime with today's technology, and not just give me a tease and then
And yet,
so stupid.
And yet a week later, he's like with Obi-Wan, just like.
Right. Well, that's.
Well, again,
I don't think
But
that would have
that's
happened if.
You
That's
can't penalize it.
limitations of the time, though.
Thank you. You can't penalize
But that's
film.
but that's an example of Disney going with let's please fans rather
I
than
disagree. I mean,
rather than let's
Lucas
stick with the
always
story.
wanted. Lucas shot that Jabba scene one, whether it was right for the special edition or not. I think if he did it today with today's technology, that Jabba scene in the special edition and those flourishes, we would be a little less pissed.
I mean,
because it would look. You
no.
could even make it look like it was done in that era now. Like, you can not only make it, but you can make it put a film filter on and make it feel like
could have got
you wouldn't even know.
We could have got a better Han Solo dodging and shooting second scene.
I mean, I'm not suggesting we do that, but my point is Lucas is a visionary who clearly wanted to do those flourishes, and now that we can see Rey running and do a force flip and slice a
that
spaceship,
looks so good. That does look good.
Fuck yeah, I'm into that.
looks good.
That's gonna make her a badass.
And that just solidifies how much of a bitch Kylo is to come at her with a ship. And she's just like, I just need my fucking lightsaber.
Not your face.
He's
okay?
a bitch.
Hey, we're Team Kylo over here. We may have blue sabers, but I will defend Kylo.
No.
Team Rey.
Kylo is an entitled bitch who had everything
Rey
given
is
to
a
him.
Mary Sue.
Rey
who
had
gets
to suffer.
everything.
She's not a
No
Mary
way.
Sue.
What?
She spent more time.
I think we have a later fight. Who I'm going to bring you back for is Kylo Ren a bitch. I promise. We will save that
Rey
fight.
is not a Mary Sue though. Like,
No,
I
no,
have
no.
arguments on that.
I argued at the source of who started that whole trend.
That's the thing. That's the thing that this Star Wars can do is it can show us the Force unleashed. Which, hello, if you've seen play
I
the
love
game,
that
Yeah.
game.
which
yeah.
is what Vader did at the end of Rogue One. We can get those now. We can get that kind of Force power battles. Superpowered Rey and superpowered Kylo, where they're now trained and they're really like Kylo's fully embracing the dark side and Rey's fully embracing the light. We can get an epic battle.
Well, according to Andy, she's
what I
fully
want.
embraced in the gray.
Well, but I was going to say
Skywalker.
first. No, I think you can. Skywalker can make choices too. But the first shot in Force Awakens where he stops the blaster.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That to me set the tone. I wish there had been more of those moments, but it sort of then that was a great idea, and I hope JJ embraces because I didn't think they did that in Last Jedi.
Well, it was
Yeah, they
JJ's
didn't
idea.
have
They
enough.
didn't do it.
yeah.
So JJ set that awesome idea. Like, let's use the Force to badass visuals.
Yeah.
And if is able to continue on that, I think we're in for a major treat.
Yeah, especially since it's the last one, there's going to be a lot of conflict, so they'll be able to use the Force in actual fighting, and I'm hoping they really use it to like actually fight and not just let's throw the lightsaber. Like, don't rely on the lightsaber so much. Yeah, awesome weapon, cool, but you've got magic.
Force,
You
yeah.
got magic.
It's
Throw
a
that
civilized
lightsaber, yeah.
weapon. It's a weapon of
No.
knights.
I'm sorry. Why I throw that civilized weapon at your head? I can also get
It's
a
a sword.
panel from the
And-
side.
and
It's a
and-
glorified future
Yeah.
sword.
Yes.
In Rogue One, if you weren't a
Call it a laser
Jedi, you
sword.
could not activate the sword. That was a huge plot point in Rogue One. If you were not a Jedi, you could not activate the sword at all. So the fact that they have the swords, it's still magic. That's still the Force.
So
Well,
is
no, hold
Finn
on,
a
hold on.
Jedi then? Because he activated that fucking
He-
sword.
So is
he
Han
could
Solo.
be.
He
I
has
want
some
him
of
to
the
be.
Force
Han,
in
I
him.
want him
Han
to
Solo
be.
activated his sword and cut open the thing to stick Luke in. So yeah, that's not.
Oh yeah, he tauntaun.
Yeah, Tauntaun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
That
So
means
you've been able to
Kylo-
activate a lightsaber for a while. That's not.
Yeah.
But that was a huge thing.
It's
in
just a
Rogue One.
weapon. I mean, I feel like it's just a
They
weapon.
didn't know better. Because Rogue One was before Han Solo figured it out, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the title. Let's wrap this back up cozily. Now that we've done all this conversation, now that we've had our theories, Palpatine's back.
Yes.
I mean,
or Jared Leto. I mean, there was a cackle.
or Mark
That's all we
Hamill.
know.
It could be the Mark
Yeah,
Hamill
it
Joker.
was just a good cackle. That's all it
no,
was.
they've confirmed that's Palpatine.
All right.
But my question is, they're killing off their leads. Solo's dead. Supposed to be Luke's a Force ghost, and
Billy D's
now
next.
sadly Leia's gone.
Billy D is
But
next.
no, so now we killed them all off. Let's bring in Billy D because we did Solo and they like Donald Glover and he was the that's his ship. So he can do it. I kind of don't like him in the ship. Like Happy, I'm like, dude, Solo just died. I don't know. It just feels a little
he
weird.
didn't just die. It's been a few years. It's been a bit.
But my point is, they're bringing back Billy D. They're
Yeah.
bringing back Palpatine. Clearly, there's going to be Anakin or something else is going to happen. Yoda. I feel like Yoda was a slip. Daisy Ridley said something at the convention about Yoda, and it felt like clearly Yoda's coming back too.
I feel like the
I think
Force
that's
ghosts are
obvious,
going to
but
be
is
there.
all of this like too much, or is that what you want for a finale? Is that then therefore the rise of Skywalker and this idea of all these people coming together? Does that sell any of you? Of like, you know what? This is the cultivation of all of it. We got to have Anakin because that's the first prequel. You got to have Luke because that's the new prequel. You got to have Kylo or Rey for the new prequel. Not having them all together sort of is pointless then if it's a wrap of the trilogies. No.
So I think it fits in with what you're saying about Queen. This is the Bohemian Rhapsody of Star Wars, and this is the nothing really matters. So fuck it, just do everything. This is the ending. This is that final part. Nothing really matters. That's it. So yeah, it's fine.
Wow,
Fuck it.
you're a dark Star Wars
Yeah.
fan. Let's go to
I
the
am.
couch. Let's go to the light.
That's why we're team
Nihilism.
nihilism. Yeah.
Is it? I think it's gonna be a good. I hope they don't bring them all in, but at the same time, if they give me like a Two Towers type of scene where Rey goes into battle and all the ghosts follow her, I'm not gonna say no to that. That would be really awesome. But at the same time, I think the whole that Luke's talking to her and they're all there with her. I think that's just. I'm hoping that it's like metaphor of like the training has gone into her and she's using that discipline to be able to go on to the next step of the story versus we're all gonna magically appear and we're all fine, type
Well,
of thing.
I also think that there's
Big musical number.
there's a big chance that we're talking about mentors passing it on to their underlings, disciples. Thank you. And we have a situation where, yeah, they could find Kylo training with the Emperor. I mean, why not? Yoda came back and Ben Kenobi came back to help train and guide the next generation. Why wouldn't the Emperor be like, listen, this is
Yes, I'm going to show you the real power. And then
Twist. The Emperor was the Messiah all along.
But we've seen what Kylo does to authority. I mean, he tried to kill Luke.
Well, no,
he killed Snoke.
He's not.
I mean, he doesn't take bosses well.
He's not touching the Emperor like that.
Yeah.
We don't know that. He can just fucking electrify his Force
He's
ghost.
throwing
Yeah,
some
that's not
major
happening.
tantrums.
He does. He's a bitch.
He just
Kylo's
Leave
a
him
bitch.
alone.
All right.
He's
So and
gone
then
through lots of trauma.
title-wise, last thoughts here. Shannon and Lee, I'm going to come to you
No.
first. Nothing here assuades you. You think this is a bad direction.
This
What's your final
movie
thoughts
could have
here?
been called Star Wars Let's Gangbang Kylo, and we would still watch it. It
just-
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That movie exists, actually. Just
I'm
saying.
sure it does.
The title relies too
lightsabers.
much on nostalgia,
Yeah.
and whether or not this movie is good or bad, the fact that they have the title that way doesn't give me faith that after the Skywalker saga ends, that Disney and other writers can pick up and give a good story for the next trilogy, because Disney's not.
They're not going to be able to let it go.
They're not going to be able to let it go. They're gonna drag Skywalkers like a dead horse, chained to anything. It is
Anything, yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And the fact that they even will label it Skywalker, it's just the dead horse. It's like a dead marriage that you didn't even know you signed up for.
Wow. Dark
agree.
side indeed. Okay, let's go over to the
I'll let
couch
you
for
go
that. I'll
first.
let you guys wrap up, hopefully on a positive note.
I think you guys are getting too hung up on the fact that there's nostalgia in this. Because, yes, there's nostalgia Force Awakens started by bringing the nostalgia back. So I think that this whole trilogy has been based on the nostalgia to try to cap that story, to cap the Skywalker story and cap what they've done. And the fact that they even said like they're taking a break now from the Star Wars movies, I think it's great because, cap this off, put the story aside, and then let's move on. If you're doing another Star Wars, I think it would be a good way for them to start over and then not give us as much nostalgia. Yeah, they're going to put, it's Disney. They're always going to put the little quirks of like the music cues, and they're going to put one or two things that remind you like, oh, that was in this movie.
There's a Wookiee. Right?
Yeah, they're always going to do that. And I think having them do that afterwards, like after their break, is a good way to start over. Right now, nostalgia is going to be there because it's what this trilogy has been based off. It's just been a bunch of nostalgia. Yes, you have new characters. Yes, you have a new storyline, but it's all hanging on Luke and Leia and the Skywalker story. It's all been like, that's like the basis of the plot. You can't really take it away from the final one because you have to end it somehow.
There's that, and there's let's also remember. If we go into we're going to bring up Legends because even though they dab into Star Wars Legends canon, they pull some things out every now and then. They don't go exactly.
It's not canon anymore.
I understand that, but they do pull things out from time to time. We still had the twins. We still had the Jedi Academy. We still had a lot of other things that they can pull from. And
they should have pulled from.
And we're looking at a new Star Wars that could sit there and say, okay, they're going to go into the past. They're going to go into these other trilogies that have nothing to do with the Skywalker saga in the future. This is a great way to sit there and leave Rey, Poe, and Finn and say, okay, that trilogy is completed. We finished the Skywalker saga. Whether it becomes a term for the future or whether it becomes a name that Rey adopts, whatever the reason behind it, that ends. We're done with it. We can flash forward 100 years into the future. And Legends, remember that they said
Cade Skywalker,
yeah, Legends Skywalker is now trying to be a legend, and part of the reason why even Luke did his thing, and even Rian Johnson said he's like, listen, the legend of Skywalker could be just as important and just as powerful and more powerful than Luke Skywalker himself. So the rise and the hope that the legend of the Skywalkers remains, that could be the reason why we're going forward into the future, saying, this is the legend. This is the legacy. This will inspire future generations.
Yeah, that can shape their whole new discipline.
Yeah, well, it's true because if there's anyone who was a bitch, it was Luke.
I gotta go to Tashi Station for power converters.
Both of his mentors chose death rather than continue training him. So I know I'm done with this guy.
He lost his hand. He's crippled. You can't.
I know a guy without a whole arm, and he's he does much more than most people.
For the record, I think that the reason that they're taking such a big break is so Kathleen Kennedy can fire like 5 different directors while they're making their next movie.
Yeah, well, she has taken ownership of this, so we got it. It's on her, and she's had some failures, and I think I'll always respect her for all the work she's done. She's amazing, but she owned it. She made the calls, and then some of those calls didn't work. But what the most interesting call I've seen, I don't know if you noticed, if you guys seen it, but like when they originally bought it, they're like, yeah, bye Lucas, see ya, we're gonna do this ourselves. And then they've slowly been like, no, Luke, because they had him at Celebration. He's there, and like we've talked to George, and
he's the Stan Lee.
They've made him now, because I think there was a little bit of after prequels, and we're starting over. We're distancing ourselves from him because he didn't know what he was doing. But I do see now that, like they're trying to bring in the old guard of like, no, you got to respect George. What actually do you have? Because I think George is an amazing visionary person. Like he's obviously, he gets all the respect. I don't think he's the best director. I think that's where the problem was always.
I've seen Red Tails.
He didn't know how to direct. He doesn't know how to direct a movie. He should do effects and write and produce and be that. But like bring in a tighter storyteller who's going to care about delivery, because he doesn't. He's admitted it. Have you guys watched those behind the scenes of the prequels? They're amazing. With he doesn't give a shit about the performance. He's just like, all right, what am I going to put in the background there?
Gungans, Googans, whatever I call them. All these robots get cut up like butter.
Yeah, fuck. And I love them for that, because visually stunning. Like if you go back and rewatch the prequels, there's a reason that kids love it. It's because visually, it's just an eyeful.
It's all bright.
Story wise, he gets hung up and doesn't know when to tighten it. But anyway, I think it's interesting because I think JJ is a little bit better at the storytelling, and it sounds like they've gotten the guidance from Lucas. And we can't forget that it is about Skywalkers. That's what this whole thing started on.
It is.
Like, and even the prequels is about Skywalkers, and then the second one is all about Skywalkers, and then the third one now is, where is Luke Skywalker? Like,
but
that's what this whole thing is supposed to be about.
We also have Coder, which had nothing to do with Skywalker, and it was amazing.
Who's Coder?
Coder, Knights of the Old Republic, the video game.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's not canon, is it?
That's coming up. That's coming up soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, I know.
We'll do that. But sure. But I mean, in this story, I don't know. In this story, let's finish this out. And I agree. Let the Game of Thrones guys do their trilogy. Let Ryan Johnson do a trilogy.
Can't
Great.
wait to see Lord
That's
Vader
going to be
Snoke,
interesting.
or,
But
Snow.
right now, I think for me, and hearing all you guys out, I think the Rise of Skywalker is an interesting thing, and I think it's got us very intrigued. I think it's the right direction. We'll see if he hits the landing, but it's the right amount of nostalgia, but also the right amount of. I'm going to drop the mic and leave this legacy here. I think that's where we got to go. So I'm going to go with Team Positive. Sunny Side. Woo! You guys won it. Damien, you're at the Mr. Creative Freedom or Mr. Creative Free One on Twitter. Thank you as always. And then Nadine, welcome to the show.
Hi guys.
Anything you want to plug? Your Twitter there?
Sarian VZARIAVI.
There it is. It's on screen. I got it. And go follow these two. They're awesome. And thank you. Come back, please, Nadine, anytime.
Yeah,
Nerd out with
of
the
course.
Star Wars. And then over here to my other side, Lee, the Funko Pop King. Welcome back again.
Thanks for having me again. I mean, I love it, man.
Yeah, no, you've become a staple. I love it. You know all your stuff. And as always, so good to have Shannon back. Her season 2 debut. I know when we tape these on Tuesdays, you have other things, so it was nice we snuck you in this time. But let's bring you back. I love having you. Shannon says, what? Online? Anything you want to say?
Just do more Saturday shows so I can be on.
Yes, we'll get the lunch when the news hits like this. We gotta. What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments below. Are you excited? Obviously, you're excited. Are you gonna troll us? Yes. Are you gonna troll Star Wars? Of course. But do you see potential? Be positive. Fear leads to the dark side, so don't be so afraid, right? Be happy. Let's be positive, and let's hope this one will finally hit the landing. I hope Star Wars gets back on track. We will see this December. In the meanwhile, have a great one and watch the old Nerd Wars, because these are long episodes. Everyone stop watching because the algorithm fucks you on YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. But come on, give them a shot. We got some good shows and good fighters. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you, everybody.